Onward with Nvidia. So now I've dialed into the daily chart, working off the 1081 low here from October 13th, 2022. Now we're on the daily chart. And what I'm going to do here is take the natural active based off the 1081 price, that dough to dough is 1081 to 2162. So that is the major active that I'm showing here from dough up to the higher dough at 2162 area. So from the Gurdjieff work, we know that inside the larger active, we can only create actives between Ray and me and so and do. So bringing this Excel sheet back in, we can create an octave here on the Ray note or Ray tone. We have an octave between Ray and me, so that's a very narrow one between 12.375, or rather 1216 and 1297. On the right here in column H, I have the natural octave based off the frequency, and this is our market generated octave set based off the low of 1081. So we can create octave between Ray and me, then we can create an octave between me and so, which would be 1297 to 1621. And we can create the third octave inside the major octave of 1621 to 2162. So there's our law of 3 again, and inside the law of 7. So our potential octaves would be between Ray and me, which is this very narrow area here, then between me and so, and then so and do. So I've placed those octaves there and highlighted them in different colors. Sorry, I had to take a little break coming back to finish the video. So we've got the potential octave between Ray and me, potential octave between me and so, and another octave between so and do. So 3 inner octaves inside the larger octave of 1081 to 2167. So now what I've done, I've marked the tones in these octave where this mi note in the larger octave is the do note in the smaller octave, and the so note of the larger octave is the higher do to the mi note. So I've got the intervals marked inside that octave. So this would be do, then this first yellow line would be Ray, this yellow line would be the mi. The green I'm using for the fa and la tones. So this is the fa tone here, the la tone, or the so tone inside that octave is right here where we had that resistance on the move back up. The la tone is here where the market gapped through. Here's the T tone in yellow, and then the so is the do of that octave. So what I did to get those internal tones, I used my Excel octave sheet, and I put in, for my do tone, I put in the 1297, which is the mi tone, and then the 1621 is the upper do, which was the so tone of that larger octave. And then we did the same thing for the so to do. I plugged those 2 numbers in to get the internal intervals of the upper octave. So this would be the so would be the do of that upper octave, the Ray and the mi tones in yellow, the fa in green, the SO in yellow, which was the reaction high, the La tone here, the T, and the upper Do, which is the end of that internal octave, and that's also the Do tone of the larger octave from 1081 to 2167. So you can see how the market responded around those. What I wanted to do was bring in this area and dial into this where we're dealing with that smaller number set so we can get more support and resistance inside there, which you couldn't see that on the bigger picture of the weekly chart because everything in this area here where the price was in this was bound in this 1080 to $22 range. Everything was really tight on the bigger picture, so we've got to dial in to find our key points inside that octave. So you can see what happened there. Now I'm going to add a couple of other things on here. I'm going to do some things with time, and I'm going to drop those on this chart. Now I'm adding a time technique to this chart. So what I'm doing here, taking this swing from this high down to the low, and that's giving me a 70 bar time measurement. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to expand this to look for a higher octave of that. So I'm going to just double 70 and make that 140. And then I'm going to use our F minor scale ratios and multiply that out. And using the time count measuring tool, I'm measuring off the Do low here and getting time points for pivots or change of trend. And I've got my time measurements here along with arrows marking that point in time. So here at this point here we come into a high. That one only got a push down for a day. The next point was this low. The next point was this high here. Then we had a high here, a low here, a high here for a couple days down, and then this low here is the octave or the 140 bar count over here to this low. So that's the end of that upper time octave. Now you can also take just the 70 number and find the internal ratios of that, and that's going to give you time points inside of the Do to the 70 bar count right here, which is the So measurement of the larger 140 octave. So very simple, just showing that. I did use the F minor tone ratios for that, which I showed those ratios for the F minor scale in a prior video. So this whole Nvidia series is sequential. It's meant to watch these videos from the first to the last in the order that I've posted them. Now I've added a couple of angles to this chart. So you should take a look and carefully look at where those angles are, what they're doing, and look at what I based those angles on, what numbers. And you'll see those angles are very effective in this market. So I'm going to leave that at that. A couple of internal octaves, some time counts on an ascending octave, using the range in time down to project turning points going forward in the next larger octave of time. So we've got a price octave based off the price of the low with the two internal octaves, and then taking a time measurement down and then creating time points off of there. And then lastly, I added a couple of angles. Look at those angles, look at what they're doing with the price action, and look at the numbers that I used to create the angle. So since Gann Grids Ultra allows me to create a scaled chart, and it has an angle tool which gives you a perfect angle. If you don't have scaled charts, you can still come up with your angles and plot by finding the slope, and you can use that in your trend line tool. But you can do this, you can find your angles using trig and just doing it the old-fashioned way using the SOHCAHTOA formula. So I'm going to leave that video here, and I'll see if I'm going to come back and illustrate a couple of other things.